So when did a simple tripod become a luxury item? Oh yes, of course, right after the tariffs, these import taxes were slapped on your new gear. But don't panic, I have a workaround for you, and I wrote an article about this, and it might involve a wheelchair, a broomstick, and some DIY magic. Hey everybody, I'm Mark from filmlearning.com, and I started making films in 2007, so I've been through a few financial crises, and I've learned some things, and that's what this podcast is all about. I wrote an article about this that Grayson and Maya will be discussing in this podcast. Basically, let's fix your kit up without breaking your bank.
You ever have that moment, like that total heart-stopping moment? Your favorite lens or, something you saved up for, like skip, those lattes for a month so you could afford this thing, and it's doing like that slow-mo tumble towards the floor.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like your heart just leaps into your throat. Well, get ready, because that feeling, it's about to get amplified like tenfold.
Oh, no.
Because now if something does happen to your precious gear replacing work, it might feel less like a trip to the store and more like, going to the bank for a loan.
Yeah, I feel that.
So that's what we're diving into today, the rising cost of DIY video gear and why, doing it yourself might start to feel a lot more expensive.
Right, yeah. And what's interesting here is how quickly these new import taxes seem to have landed. I mean, we're seeing some pretty hefty tariffs being slapped on video equipment coming into the U.S., specifically from countries like China, Vietnam, India.
Yeah.
And these are the major players when it comes to affordable gear, right? The stuff that a lot of creators rely on.
Exactly. And it's not like a tiny bump in price either. We're talking like eye-watering increases. 104% tariff on gear from China, 46% for Vietnam, 26% from India. It's like wild. I mean, it's like going to the gas station and suddenly the price per gallon has like doubled overnight.
Yeah, it's significant. And the real kicker is that it's not just hitting cameras.
Right.
We're talking about lights, audio gear, all those mounting solutions, and even cables, like the absolute basics.
Oh yeah, it's the whole shebang, the whole kit and caboodle.
Everything.
And it's not like we can just say, okay, well, let's buy American made and sidestep the whole issue, right? Because even brands that proudly display that made in the USA label, a lot of times they're sourcing their components from the same countries we just talked about.
Right, exactly. It's a global supply chain.
It is.
So these tariffs, they're going to have a ripple effect.
Yeah, and that ripple effect, well, it means fewer budget-friendly options and potentially even longer shipping times for the gear that is available.
Right.
And that's a real challenge, especially for people who are just starting out, students, small businesses, folks working with tighter budgets.
Absolutely. I mean, for new creators or anyone operating on a limited budget, this could be a significant obstacle.
And it's not just a U.S. problem either, right? Even if you're outside the U.S., you're probably going to feel the squeeze in some way.
That's true. This kind of move can lead to factories relocating production to different countries. Demand for gear might spike in markets that aren't affected by these particular tariffs. And then suddenly that lens you had your eye on becomes harder to find, or it's way more expensive.
Yeah, it's a global game of whack-a-mole.
It really is. It really is. The interconnectedness of manufacturing means that decisions made in one part of the world can have these far-reaching consequences for the entire industry.
Okay, so enough with the doom and gloom for a minute, because here's where things get interesting. This whole situation, this sudden leap in price for all the new video gear, it actually feels like it might rekindle some of that classic DIY spirit, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for creators who've always embraced the idea of making do with what they have, MacGyvering their way to the perfect shot, this could be a really exciting time.
It's like a resurgence of that whole DIY ethos.
Yeah, return to the roots of creative problem solving.
Exactly. And the stuff we've been digging through has some seriously ingenious examples of this in action. Let's start with the humble tripod. Suddenly that sleek carbon fiber model feels like it belongs on a yacht, not on a film set.
Yeah. A little out of reach for most of us.
But fear not, because apparently you can repurpose a light stand or even a microphone stand, those things with the adjustable legs, just add a ball head and boom, you've got a tripod.
That's brilliant, actually, using what you already have.
Right, and the image I have in my head is so funny. It's, you can also clamp a broomstick to a C-stand and just pretend it's this, Swedish engineered masterpiece.
There you go, embracing that DIY aesthetic.
And then there's lighting, right? That constant quest for decent lighting without, selling a kidney to afford it.
Ah, yes, the eternal struggle.
Forget those fancy, expensive soft boxes. Just grab a clamp plate from your local hardware store. those basic ones, and then combine it with some parchment paper, the kind you use for baking.
Interesting.
And apparently that can create this surprisingly soft, diffused light source.
It's all about using simple materials in clever ways and understanding the principles behind it, right? Parchment paper acts as a diffuser, scattering the harsh light from the lamp, and if you add a dimmer switch, you can control the intensity, which can really add that cinematic feel. It's all about mimicking the effects of professional equipment using everyday items.
Okay, so let's talk movement, those smooth tracking shots that instantly elevate your video. Those professional dollies, they cost a fortune, but the DIY rebels, they've got some tricks up their sleeves.
I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
Okay, so get this, wheelchairs, office chairs, skateboards, even those furniture sliders you use when you're rearranging your living room, they're all being suggested as alternatives.
I love it. It's so resourceful and it makes sense, right? Anything that can provide a smooth rolling motion can potentially be used for a tracking shot.
Exactly. The key is smooth movement. And those things, well, they're designed for it, right? Just be mindful of the flooring. You don't want your makeshift dolly getting stuck or creating unwanted bumps.
Right. Safety and stability are still paramount.
Absolutely. And for audio, crisp, clear audio, a boom microphone is often essential, but those professional boom poles can be surprisingly expensive.
Yeah, they
A
can.
DIY hack a painter's pole.
No way, seriously.
Yeah, just tape your XLR cable. That's the standard cable for professional microphones. Tape it along a pole and you've got some serious reach for your mic.
I love that. And it's so simple. It's just a matter of adapting existing tools for a new purpose. And it really highlights that collaborative spirit of filmmaking, even in these DIY scenarios, right?
Yeah, and the source even had this funny bit about your sound guy finally earning their slice of pizza.
I appreciate that.
Now, this next one feels like we've time traveled straight into the future 3D printing.
Yes, the realm of endless possibilities.
There are tons of free design files for video rig components just floating around online on platforms like Thingiverse and printables, things like mounting plates, follow focus wheels, even lens caps.
That's incredible.
And the source really emphasizes that these are legit options. They're not just flimsy prototypes, they're functional, durable pieces of equipment.
It really speaks to the democratization of technology, doesn't it?
Yeah.
3D printing is becoming increasingly accessible, and with these open source designs, creators can literally print custom parts to enhance their gear or even build entirely new components tailored to their specific needs.
It's like a game changer, especially if you need something super specific that you just can't find or can't afford in the traditional market.
Absolutely.
So the takeaway here is don't panic. There are ways to navigate this new landscape of more expensive video gear, and the source material offers some solid advice on how to cushion the blow of these tariffs.
The first piece of advice is simple. If you know you need certain gear, buy it sooner rather than later, stocking up before prices climb. Even higher can save you a good chunk of change.
And if the prices of brand new gear are making you cringe, well, the secondhand market is looking more and more appealing.
It's a treasure trove for budget-conscious creators. Platforms like B&H, used Facebook Marketplace, KEH Camera. You can find some real gems there.
And as we've already touched on with all these DIY ideas, building smart is key. Repurposing, adapting, getting creative with what you already have. And the source even mentions a dedicated DIY gear section as a future resource.
It seems like these tariffs are pushing creators to become more resourceful out of necessity, which could be a really positive thing in the long run.
Yeah, it's like a forced evolution of creativity.
Exactly.
But ultimately, and this is crucial, gear is just a tool. It's the story you're telling that truly matters. You could have the most state-of-the-art camera, but without a compelling narrative, it's meaningless.
It's all about the heart of the story, the
Yeah.
message you're trying to convey.
Stay creative, stay scrappy, and keep making videos no matter what obstacles come your way.
Couldn't agree more.
So it looks like we're entering this new chapter for DIY video creators. Gear is becoming more expensive, but it might just be the spark that ignites a whole new wave of ingenuity and resourcefulness within the community.
It's like a call to action, a challenge to innovate and push the boundaries of what's possible with limited resources.
It's time to channel that inner MacGyver, that punk rock energy, and build your own tools in your garage.
I love it.
So while these tariffs might raise the cost of entry for some, they don't have to stifle creativity, if anything. It's like a shot of espresso for the DIY movement. So grab that painter's pole, liberate a lamp from your spare bedroom, and keep those cameras rolling.
Embrace the limitations and turn them into opportunities.
Exactly. And on that note, we're curious. This deep dive has explored some pretty cool DIY gear hacks using relatively accessible materials. But what about going even deeper into the down and dirty DIY realm?
Oh, I like where this is going.
What about a future deep dive focused entirely on those truly resourceful hacks that involve super cheap, everyday materials, the kind of stuff you probably already have lying around?
The ultimate budget filmmaking challenge.
Yeah, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in hearing about, those truly budget-friendly, almost absurdly simple solutions, let us know. We'd love to gauge the interest and see if that's a deep dive you'd be keen for.
I'm sure there's a wealth of knowledge and creative solutions out there just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see what people come up with.
Me too.
So there you have it, everybody. That is how ingenuity can come around these import taxes. If you are in the United States, you will see rising costs. If you are outside of the United States, you'll probably see some supply chain issues that happen along with this too. That seems to happen every single time we go through one of these. If you want to read more of the details of this, my article for this is down below in the show notes, filmandlearning.com. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.